Yes, but I survived it anyway, and so...
Very blessed, very lucky to be able to have that kind of lifestyle, but it all comes from work, you know. Nothing comes from nothing.
When Pierce Brosnan was asked, "Where does the time go these days?" he didn't give a typical answer. Instead, he said, "It goes with the speed of flame." And he's not wrong. But the truth stings even more when that flame burns through everything you hold dear. You could be the face of James Bond, famous around the world, but time. It doesn't care who you are, it treats everyone the same. When we think of Pierce Brosnan, we see the slick, polished image of 007, action-packed stunts, breathtaking locations, luxury on every side. But behind all the iconic roles and Hollywood glamour is a story of heartbreak, loss, and personal tragedy. So, what really happened to the man behind the tuxedo? What moments in life brought him to his knees? The question on everyone's lips is, could he survive the unbearable pain of saying goodbye again? Let's see the painful truths that shaped Pierce Brosnan into the man he is today. Before we get into the tough part of Pierce Brosnan's story about his wife, let's take a quick look back at how his life and career started before things got hard. A tough start. Pierce Brosnan's life wasn't easy from the get-go. He was born in Drogheda, Ireland on May 16, 1953 to May and Thomas Brosnan. Sadly, his dad, who was a carpenter, left when Pierce was just a baby. Then, when he was only 4, his mom left for London to work, leaving him behind. Pierce ended up living with his grandparents in Navan, a small town in County Meath. He always felt connected to that place and considered it his real home. But even as a kid, he was lonely, especially without his dad around. Pierce once talked about how tough it must have been for his mom back then, a single Irish Catholic woman in the 1950s, trying to make it on her own. Even though it was hard, Pierce admired his mom's bravery. She worked as a nurse in England and visited him a few times each year, which helped him feel somewhat secure during a pretty rough time. But just as he started to settle into life with his grandparents, they passed away, which threw his life into even more chaos. He bounced from relative to relative, living with his aunt for a while, then with his uncle, and finally ended up staying in a boarding house run by a kind lady named Eileen. Pierce's childhood was very much centered around Catholic traditions. He went to a school run by the De La Salle brothers and was even an altar boy for a bit. But when he turned 11, everything changed. On August 12, 1964, Pierce left Ireland and moved to Scotland to live with his mom and her new husband, William Carmichael, in Longniddry. This was a turning point for Pierce. Carmichael became a father figure to him and was the one who introduced Pierce to the world of James Bond by taking him to see Goldfinger. Soon after, they moved to London, where Pierce continued his education at Elliott School in Putney, which would eventually shape the next phase of his life. With William Carmichael's support, Pierce discovered his passion for acting. But life had other plans, and the biggest challenge of his life was still yet to come, on the road to fame. Once Pierce had found his passion, he enrolled in a 3-year program at the Drama Centre in London, which was where his acting career really began. He started performing in West End productions, one of the most famous theater spots in the world. For Pierce, acting gave him a sense of freedom and let him reinvent himself. "Acting is freedom," he said. "It's a way to leave behind the old and become someone new." After graduating from the Drama Centre in 1975, Brosnan's first professional gig was at the York Theatre Royal as an assistant stage manager. But soon, he got his break in acting, appearing in the play Wait Until Dark. Just 6 months later, he landed a big role when the legendary Tennessee Williams cast him as McCabe in the Red Devil Battery sign. It was a big deal in London's theatre scene, and though his name was misspelled as Pierce Brosnan, his performance was a hit. Tennessee Williams even sent him a telegram saying, "Thank God for you, my dear boy," and that's a message Pierce still cherishes. Then came Pierce's big break on TV. He landed a role in the miniseries The Manions of America, which got him noticed in the US. But it was his role as Remington Steele in the show of the same name that made him a household name. From 1982 to 1987, Brosnan played the smooth ex-con detective who loved classic movies. People couldn't get enough of him. When Remington Steele wrapped up, Pierce easily transitioned to film. He starred in a bunch of movies like Dante's Peak, The Thomas Crown Affair, and the classics The Long Good Friday and The Mirror Cracked. He proved that he wasn't just a TV actor. He could handle film roles, too. This prepared him for the role he's most famous for. In 1995, Pierce became the fifth actor to play James Bond, starring in hits like GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and Die Another Day. He completely owned the role of 007 and became one of Hollywood's biggest stars. After Bond, Pierce kept pushing himself. He starred in the critically acclaimed film The Matador and dabbled in different genres, from rom-coms like Laws of Attraction to spy thrillers like The Tailor of Panama and even musicals like Mamma Mia. His versatility showed he could take on just about any role. Pierce didn't stop there. He co-founded a production company called Irish Dreamtime and produced films like The Nephew and The Thomas Crown Affair, proving his talents went beyond just acting. Off-screen, Pierce has been active in several causes, from supporting environmental issues to speaking up for same-sex marriage and gun control. In 2004, The Sustainable Style Foundation even called him the best-dressed environmentalist, showing that he's as passionate about the planet as he is about style. Over the years, Pierce's work has earned him multiple nominations and awards, including 2 Golden Globe nods and a Primetime Emmy nomination. He even received a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Chicago International Film Festival in 2002. In 2016, Pierce Brosnan was honored by the European Film Academy with the Outstanding European Achievement in World Cinema Award. This was one of many recognitions he received throughout his career. In 2011, he won the IFTA Award for Best Supporting Actor in The Ghostwriter. He also took home the IFTA Outstanding Irish Contribution to Cinema Award in 2004. Pierce Brosnan's personal struggles. But behind the glamour of Hollywood, Brosnan has faced deep personal loss. While working on the Western series The Sun, Brosnan opened up about losing his first wife, Cassandra Harris, to ovarian cancer. He loved her deeply. In 1992, just as Brosnan's movie The Lawnmower Man was hitting box office success, tragedy struck his family. Brosnan, then 39, celebrated the movie's success with his sons, Christopher, 19, and Sean, 8, in their Malibu home. But as he basked in the joy of the moment, his wife, Cassandra, was fighting a battle she would lose later that year. She passed away in December 1992. 9 months after her ovarian cancer diagnosis. Brosnan fondly remembers those moments in their home overlooking the Pacific Ocean, often sitting in the garden talking to her. Cassandra played a huge role in shaping his career. She encouraged him to take risks, pushed him to explore new opportunities, and was the reason they moved from England to America in 1981. Even in her final months, Cassandra urged him to keep working, convincing him to take roles in movies like The Lawnmower Man and Livewire. Her ovarian cancer diagnosis, tragically, the same disease that had taken her mother's life, meant their lives would never be the same. Over the next 4 years, Cassandra endured multiple surgeries and chemotherapy, but through it all, Brosnan stood by her side, offering support. His career took a back seat as he dedicated his time to caring for her. However, by 1991, it became clear that her time was limited, and the family had to face a harsh reality. Brosnan juggled his demanding work schedule with being a full-time caregiver, a role that took a huge emotional toll. On December 28, 1991, Cassandra lost her brave battle with cancer at just 43, leaving behind her husband and their children, Charlotte, Christopher, and Sean. Her death left a deep void in Brosnan's life. He now had to face the challenges of single fatherhood, raising his children while dealing with his immense grief. In the years since her passing, Brosnan has often spoken about how Cassandra shaped the man, actor, and father he is today. Her influence remains with him, and he believes she's still a part of his life. Sadly, Brosnan's grief resurfaced in 2013 when his daughter Charlotte died at the age of 41 from the same ovarian cancer that claimed her mother. This loss was another devastating blow to the Brosnan family, reminding everyone of the cruel nature of the disease that has taken two of the most important women from Pierce's life. Finding comfort with Keely. During some of the toughest times in life, love can be the best healer. For Pierce Brosnan, that love came through Keely Shea Smith. She was a fun, vibrant woman who brought light back into his world. They met by chance at a beach party in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, in 1994. It was a turning point for Pierce, who was still carrying the heavy weight of loss. Keely, a former journalist and actress, instantly connected with Pierce. He was drawn to her warm personality and striking looks. In his words, she was tall, dark, and handsome with a spark of mischief in her eyes. She had been at the party to interview Ted Danson, but once she met Pierce, the chemistry was undeniable. They went on their first date just a few days later and stayed up all night talking under the stars as fireworks lit up the sky. That night, they both knew they had something special. At the time, Pierce was grieving the loss of his first wife, Cassandra, while raising their 3 kids alone. Keely came into his life at the perfect moment, offering the kind of love and support that helped him heal. In many interviews, Pierce has credited her with saving him during those dark days, giving him a reason to smile again. Over time, their bond only grew stronger. Keely's love helped Pierce move forward while still cherishing Cassandra's memory. He often says that Keely's unconditional acceptance of his past has been key to their relationship. Their love grew quickly, and by 2001, they were married in a beautiful ceremony in Ireland. Together, they built a blended family, welcoming 2 sons, Dylan and Paris, while also raising Pierce's children, Sean, Charlotte, and Christopher. Keely Shea Smith since then worn many hats: journalist, actress, environmental advocate, and while she's often known as Pierce Brosnan's wife, her own accomplishments shine brightly. After having her 2 kids, Keely faced some health challenges, including thyroid issues that led to rapid weight gain. But despite these obstacles, she stayed focused on her work and her family. In 2011, she had a health scare after eating at a restaurant, which led her to take legal action. But her optimistic spirit never wavered. She kept pushing forward, refusing to let her health struggles define her. In recent years, she's faced hurtful comments from the media and online trolls who've attacked her appearance. But Keely has stood tall against this cruelty. She's used her voice to raise awareness about body shaming and fat phobia, hoping for a kinder and more inclusive world. And Pierce has been right there by her side. He's publicly defended her, saying, "I adore every curve of her body. She's the most beautiful woman in my eyes." He often talks about how her inner beauty and kindness have only grown with time. "She brought our 5 beautiful children into the world, and my admiration for her has only deepened." But despite the kindness he got for his family, he still has to face so many harsh truths of life. When Pierce Brosnan and Cassandra got married in 1980, he embraced her 2 kids, Charlotte and Christopher, from her previous relationship. After their biological father passed away, Pierce adopted the siblings, and they took his surname. Sadly, not long after, Cassandra was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, which eventually took her life in December 1991, leaving Pierce and the kids heartbroken. Christopher was profoundly affected by his mother's passing, leading him into a downward spiral of addiction and legal troubles. He struggled with substance dependence and faced a 3-month jail sentence in 1997 for a DUI because of his unresolved grief. In an interview with the Rolling Stone, Pierce expressed concern for Christopher, saying, "Christopher is still struggling to find his way. Although his path has been difficult, I remain hopeful and have faith that he will ultimately find his way out of the darkness. He has the capacity to overcome his challenges, but at this point, he lacks the willingness to do so." Eventually, Pierce made the heart-wrenching decision to say goodbye to his son, knowing it was necessary for their respective paths forward. It was not a choice he took lightly. It came after exhausting all avenues to rescue Christopher from his struggles. Despite his efforts to steer Christopher towards a career in filmmaking, offering him opportunities to work as an assistant director on high-profile projects like the Bond films Tomorrow Never Dies and The World Is Not Enough, the situation did not improve. Later, Christopher even tried to make a comeback on the celebrity edition of Love Island in 2005, but his challenges continued. Pierce Brosnan's journey as a father was full of both love and sacrifice. Despite his best efforts, he had to let go of Christopher, who was still grappling with addiction and legal issues. Pierce's story shows that sometimes love means knowing when to hold on and when to let go, even within a family. Although Pierce has faced unimaginable tragedy, saying goodbye to his loved ones, including his first wife and later his daughter, he found solace in his enduring love for Keely Shea Smith. Now there are rumors circulating that Pierce and Keely may have split. Speculation intensified when Pierce was spotted without his wedding ring. The uncertainty leaves many wondering if he's facing yet another heartbreak, but only time will reveal the truth.